Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're joining from. Thank you for joining the Ciena Solutions Challenge student panel discussion. My name is Carissa Bowen, and I'll be your moderator for today's session. I also have my colleague, Jess Alanis, who's joining us from Texas. And we will be joined also by our student teams from India, Kazakhstan, and Taiwan. So here is our agenda that describes how we'll spend this hour together. We would love to know who's in the room with us, the virtual room with us. So please feel free to use the chat box to share your name, where you're located, and what are you currently celebrating. This could be personally, this could be something that's happening in your school or in your community or at home with your friends or your family. What are you currently celebrating? Because we are in the YouthMADE Festival. It's an inclusive celebration where we are showcasing youth creators and change makers in their local community. So we always want to know what exciting things are happening for you. Um, so we will share a little bit about the challenge. If this is your first time hearing about the Ciena Solutions Challenge, you'll meet the panelists, a little bit more about our special guest. You'll have we'll have a bunch of time for the presentations. We'll have a little student discussion and audience Q&A, and you'll hear some closing remarks from us. Let's see what's happening in the chat box. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you.
Hi, Carissa. I'm so glad and honored to be here. Thank you.
Of course, of course. All right, so let's move on. Please keep sharing your introductions in the chat box and we will be able to see them. So a little bit about the Ciena Solutions Challenge. Since launching in 2021, more than 1,200 educators from schools and youth organizations across 103 countries have engaged with the Ciena Solutions Challenge. We started off with a very small pilot of about 10 educators, and now we have expanded to 1,200, which is really exciting. So the Ciena Solutions Challenge is a global design challenge by Digital Promise and Ciena that invites middle and high school students globally to use challenge-based learning to design solutions that address the UN Sustainable Development Goals within their communities. And today, again, we are thrilled to celebrate the 2026 Ciena Solutions Challenge Sustainability Award recipients. These recipients are representing 62 teams from 23 countries, and they have received sustainability awards ranging from $750 to $3,000 to sustain and scale their projects. And so we are so proud of these students, and you'll learn a little bit more about them and the exciting work that they have created in their communities and for their communities. So here are our teams today from India, Kazakhstan, and Taiwan. And like I mentioned, we have a very special guest. So part of the component of the Sienna Challenge is that we have our amazing Sienna volunteer judges who spend a great deal of time of their personal time to share feedback and help us to score some of these projects that, projects that have been submitted to the challenge. And Julie was one of our volunteers who shared her feedback, scored projects, was with us through, from the beginning of the challenge to where we are now. So Julie, we thank you so much for joining. We'd love to hear more about you and where you're coming from. Julie, I think you're on mute.
There we go. Thank you, Carissa. Well, yes, this was my third year this year as a judge, a volunteer judge for the Ciena Solutions Challenge. And yet again, I am blown away at these amazing projects, this incredible thinking, this passion about finding a better place for us to live in this world. So I want to commend every single one of you. Just to tell you a little bit about me, I'm a pretty simple gal. I'm from Houston, Texas. I'm a certified yoga teacher and meditation enthusiast. So I think that kind of balances out the type A lawyer personality, helps me stay focused and balanced. Community issues that I care about: education and digital access. I created and taught one of the first law school course on information technology and the law and how it intersects. So technology and education have always gone hand in hand with me. And at Ciena, we build the networks that connect people to information and to opportunity. So I'm passionate about making sure that every student has equal access to digital tools because that's what we all need to learn and grow. So again, I commend all of you for being here, for taking part in the challenge. I like to remind people that, you know, we're all given today. We all got today, and we can waste it or we can use it for good. And this project reminds me that what we do every day matters and it's important because we're exchanging a day of our life for today. So I want to encourage all of you that to take time in your day and remember you're leaving something behind every single day. So let's make it something good. And you guys are making something good happen every day. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Those are such very true and powerful words. We got to make today count, and I think these students have done a great job at showing how they've been able to make today count or make their days count, especially with their projects that they have put forth. So thank you so much. Julie is going to be helping us with our student discussion a little bit towards the end of the presentation. So we will move forward and get into them. All right, we have our team from India. Their project was around voice against oral cancer. And we have a few students, or I think a couple of maybe one or two students that have joined, but we have our educator, Susmita Roy Chowdhury. Our school is, their school is from the Santamayee Girls High School in West Bengal, India. So I'm actually going to share. Let me make sure that I'm not missing anything in the chat box. Susmita, I think one of your students might have joined already. I want to make sure that I see them in here. One second.
Yeah, some of my students have joined.
Okay.
Teresa.
Do any of them need to be promoted to panelists? Let me stop sharing. Let's see. Oh, is one of your students Udita?
Yeah, I have I to share my screen?
You can share your screen. I have a video presentation too from you all. So let me know if you'd prefer me to share the pre-recording.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and share the pre-recording. And then Udita, if you want to come in on the back end, you're welcome to, but I can share the pre-recording now. Hold on. Let me make sure you can hear my sound because I know that that tends to be a thing. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can see. We see the video.
Okay.
Can't hear the audio though.
Can't hear the audio? Okay. Let me see.
No.
It wasn't
It's not audible.
allowing me to share the audio. Give me 1 second. Jess, do you think you would be able to share your audio?
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah,
why
I can
mine
definitely
isn't
share it on my
working.
end. Yeah.
Okay,
Go
thank
ahead and
you.
pull that up. Of course.
Thanks everybody for your patience. We know how technology likes to
Yeah.
play
Even
tricks on
though
us.
we're
No
on it every
problem.
single day. We use it every single day, but we always run into issues. So let me see if I
Yes.
can share it with sound. And
Okay.
hopefully on my end, all right, can y'all see the video?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna press play and hopefully you can hear our student.
My heartfelt thanks to you all
Y'all hear? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Let me put this
Yes.
full screen and here we go. We have a presentation from this team.
for the opportunity to share the story behind our project, Voice Against Oral Cancer. Oral cancer remains one of India's deadliest challenges, often detected too late when treatment becomes painful and expensive in rural communities, where the need is the greatest but medical access is the least. This is where innovation enters the story. We have used artificial intelligence to create an oral cancer screening model that makes early detection more accessible. While working on the project, we faced many challenges, such as collecting accurate information, engaging the community, and balancing the project with our scheduled work. One of the biggest challenges was overcoming hesitation and lack of awareness among people. Through the project, we didn't just educate, we empowered the students to discover that their voices matter. They became ambassadors of change in their own homes and communities. That transformation enabled them to protect their families and save lives from untimely death. And it is the heart of this project. Now, we plan to continue working on this project all through the year. Our AI model works alongside health camps, schools, and mobile medical vans. Together, they are creating a comprehensive ecosystem of prevention, detection, and education. With generous support from Ciena, we are expanding this vision, reaching more villages, training younger change makers, and organizing more screening camps. We want to expand it to more schools and communities, create more student-led awareness activities, and use technology and social media to reach a larger audience. We now realize that awareness alone is not enough. People need empathy, conversation, and encouragement before they are ready to change. Something that may not be obvious is how much the project changed my community. But this journey proves that change begins with a single voice, a single story, a single student who dares to believe they can make a difference. Every early detection is a tragedy prevented. Every student empowered is a community uplifted. This is more than a project. This is a movement. And with your support and belief in change makers, we are writing a future where oral cancer is caught early, treated successfully, and ultimately prevented entirely.
Amazing. Great job. All right, let me see if I can get on the screen. Awesome. I believe we do have a student here. I want to welcome you to, if you want to hop on, any words that you want to share about your project. Udita, I believe that's you.
Hello. I'm joining from India. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Sure. Our project was quite a journey for all of us. Like, it had a very good learning curve as well. And like some of the biggest challenges, like was mentioned in the video, is that we had to like work on the AI system. And when you're dealing with something as sensitive as cancer and the kind of impact that it can have on a patient's family, so diagnosing something as serious as that was our biggest challenge. And I think the project helped us learn a lot. And I look forward to learning more from it.
Thank you so much, Udita. That was a wonderful presentation. You did such a wonderful job. We do invite attendees. If you're here, if you have any questions for this team or any teams that are presenting today, you can use the Q&A feature and we will get to those questions after the presentations. Great job. All right. I believe up next we have two teams from Kazakhstan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. We have the team that's doing SuGuard and the team that is doing JiChuan. I want to welcome, I believe up next we have SuGuard, Team SuGuard. Or do we have the students on here? That way I can start sharing your presentation.
Yes, we are ready.
Awesome, perfect. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start resharing my screen. And of course, it always gives me multiple options, but I want to make sure I select the correct one. It should be this one. All right. All right, team, take it away. You might be muted. I think I see you talking, but you might be on mute. Yeah, I think you're still muted, unless maybe it's on my end.
Hello.
There you go. Yes, perfect.
Yes. Hello, my name is Bekarys, and I'm a representative of the team SuGuard. I'm founder of this project, and our team created an AI-powered optical glucometer that use optical sensor and continuously estimates glucose levels without a single finger prick. And you can see this working principle. The sensor emits infrared and red light, and skin and blood reflect light differently at various glucose levels. And by using these principles and by measuring the temperature of the skin, our microcontroller can calculate the estimated glucose level, and the data can be shown on the display and in the app. So next. So there you can see some amount of our work. So this our first prototype, and in our new presentation we have development, and there we held strategic meetings with experts from the medicine, and we have a great support from the medical center of the presidential administration, and we recently won about $9,000 in the IMA battle. It was a very competitive competition, and we won against approximately 800 teams. So to the next slide, please. So to conclude, our project can composed of 3 SDGs. It's SDG 3, SDG 9, and SDG 10, and will have real impact. The device empowers millions to monitor their glucose level continuously without financial burden, improving quality of life, and enabling early prevention of complications. And it can be easily scalable because it is because it's easy to make, and it not cost so much. And so we have some future plans for this project. We have a mobile application, and we want to develop it for real-time data tracking and improving the AI driving health insights. So it's all.
That was excellent.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was awesome. If you have any questions from our team out of Kazakhstan, please let us know, or please share your questions or your thoughts in
I have a quick
Go ahead,
question, if you
Julie.
don't mind. I should have raised my hand, but
No, it's okay.
one question. The India team did such a terrific job about talking about some of the challenges they had. And speaking from my perspective at my company, we're moving really fast this year. And I know, AI has been the gasoline on the fire that is really pushing us to move faster and faster and accomplish more and more. But we want to work smartly, not just faster. So one of the things that we talk about on my particular team at Ciena is I tell them to watch for rocks. Watch for rocks on the journey. So what does that mean? It means, you need to be able to look ahead and see what are the things that are going to cost me time, or in my case, margin or customer trust, or something that is important to me that I don't want to lose. Is there a rock in my journey that I need to figure out how to pivot and get around it? I'd love to know what your challenges were.
So it's first time. Can I share our new presentation?
Um,
Yes.
so it would be helpful if so we have one more
Yes.
team that needs to present their presentation, and then we can go back to the question that was posed by Julie. Um, so team from SuGuard, would you be able to run through your slide deck like in a minute, or do you
Okay,
want a little bit more time? Because we can
I
always
can
come back.
wait.
Okay. Let's move to the Taiwan team. Julie, did we have your question in the
Okay, I'm
student
sorry, I may
discussion
have
portion?
asked it at the wrong
No, it's
time, Carissa.
okay. No, it's okay. That's actually a great position. This is a good opportunity to share the question in advance. So teams, if you heard the question, if you can maybe think about maybe a big rock that you experienced during your Sienna Challenge journey, and then it'll give you some time to sit on it. And we'll come back to that student discussion towards the end after the presentations are over. So thank you so much, Julie, for just like posing it early so that way you can give some folks some time to think about it.
Perfect.
But from Sugard, do you want to share your presentation now, or do you want to wait until Taiwan is able to go?
I can answer fastly.
Okay.
Okay, so yes, it was really hard to move, and we start our project in September. If I don't make a mistake, and we have already have three users, but unfortunately they not have a diabetes, and to test our product on persons who have a diabetes, we should receive a medical accreditation from the government, and so it will be hard. And the process of receiving this will be very long. It can take years because we should test at persons that have not diabetes, and after it at animals, and after this we can test it on the people with diabetes. But we have one person who is our uh, who is person with diabetes, and he allows us to test it, and it was under medical control uh, with endocrinologist from the medical center Avicenna, and our device has received an impressive feedback from our potential clients, customer.
Terrific.
Yes. So it was not just like very fast, it was very hard to move. And at first, our teacher funded us and they give us money to improve. But now we have won several competitions and we want to improve and improve.
Excellent. I love that mindset. Sometimes when you move the biggest rocks, they're the hardest to move, but it's the most satisfaction. So keep up the great
Thank you.
work.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for that presentation. So we are gonna move ahead. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. So we are going to move ahead, and we have our team from Taiwan, from Mingdao High School, and their educator here is Rony, and we have two of their students. So our team from Taiwan, you're welcome to share your screen.
All right, I'll be sharing.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. So hi everyone. I am Nari, and
I'm Eric.
Uh, yeah, and we are Formosa Blue. And today our innovation is called Formosa 2, an AI solar-powered trash cleaning robot. All right, so here's the problem. We see quite a lot of trash everywhere, like everyone sees in their busy streets and cities, and nobody's going to clean them because there's no incentives. So, as aspiring engineers ourselves, me, Nari, the figure on the right, I'm in charge of the structural and electrical design of the robot.
And my name's Eric, and I study like a few programming language. Therefore, I'm in charge of the software systems and robotic movements.
Yeah. So let's go through quickly of our structural design process. So we had our first prototype. It's Formosa 1. Now it's pretty flimsy, and the trash picking mechanism was had failed quite a lot. So we made the second prototype, which utilized a rotating mechanism to act as an intake system for the trash, a much better solar charging module, and track-like caterpillar systems for traveling over rough terrain. Now, our solar integration charging module is like the design goal is to create a self-sustaining energy management system. However, right now, our current problem is that it's not yet that efficient, so we'll be working on making it more efficient in the future. Hmm.
And for our robots, we we have been using like recycled wood, which means that it would be more better for the environment and eco-friendly. Okay. And the brain of our robot, which is a Raspberry Pi, and it has a Logitech camera that can detect trash with running a YOLO model. So basically, the camera receives input and processes, and then it detects trash. So we are now working on like making the AI model to work on every scenario, like in nighttime and in storms. And And the navigation strategies we have chosen is using a LiDAR sensor to detect like 360 degrees. Yeah. And our robot is compared to our competitor, which is a Pudu MC1 from like China. Um, we our robot only costs 3% of the 3% of the competitor, despite having less space. So we could with this we could increase the access of robotic sanitation for public environment because of the low cost. Okay.
So in the future, we plan on implementing a robot as a service business model or well service model, and we'll be starting first in public spaces such as parks and public schools. Now, the offer we give is to provide a low-cost subscription-based model where the schools and public places can pay to use our robots, and the bundle is providing them with the hardware and software and maintenance services, since those public facilities will mostly be close to where we live in the city. Now, this could minimize the cost and make the public spaces a lot more cleaner.
And our target consumers for the robot would be like transit corridors, like some stations, major stations or parks or traffic zones. And also, just like Nari mentioned, we will also be serving for schools and public parking lots and campuses.
Okay. And also at the same time, we also want to make have an educational stewardship program in which like the students of public schools could also learn how to maintain robots themselves and potentially create new AI systems by themselves so that it could benefit the society as well.
So we raised what truly matters. So, the Formosa 2 dramatically increases the accessibility for small institutions, and it promotes community ownership, integrates directly into our education programs support solar powered sustainability and adapts to real public environments. And the traditional cleaning robots, they don't prioritize these values. So we elevate the social impact alongside the technological performance. So in the future, we're working on future prototypes and also developing a website that would be able for others to browse our project, and also like incorporating the robot with interactive on the website. And we are also moving on to like finding customers, searching for customers to test deployment. Thank you.
And our first customer would likely be our own school, because the director of our school had already said that they have approved for us to start testing. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Very, very cool. That's awesome. Thank you so much, team. If you have any questions for them, please add them in the chat box. We'll come back. I see there's already a couple of questions in the chat box, so we'll be sure to bring those back up. So let's go ahead and move on to our student discussion portion. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So Julie actually had already given us the heads up on the student discussion question on the first one. So Julie, do you just want to voice over your question again with a little bit of the context you shared? And then
Sure.
students, feel free to jump in when you're ready.
Yeah.
So Julie, feel free to take it away.
Well, anytime you plan a project, and I'm sure all of you learned this as you went through your project for this challenge, there are always going to be rocks that you don't see because they're around the curve. So it takes you getting around the curve for you to see the rock. And that can be very frightening in a project, but it's also an opportunity to build a muscle called pivoting and resilience. So I really want to know, was there a big rock in your project that brought you maybe to a little bit of a standstill or made you pause and think, are we headed the right direction? Because it's important to always be the person that challenges yourself the most. Cross-examine yourself. I'm a lawyer, so I'll speak that talk. Cross-examine your project, test it, pressure test it. So what was the biggest rock that you found?
And I just stopped sharing our screen so we can look at each other. But sorry, go ahead, Udita.
Right. So, like Julie said, so there are various factors that are very important to the success of a project, like the trust of the people. And for our project, which was the model against oral cancer, I think that was one of the biggest issues that we hadn't realized could be that important, because once you're diagnosing something like cancer, your accuracy needs to be really high. And when you're training a model with like a large amount of data, you need really high computation powers, really good models that can make the predictions. And I think trying to come up with all of those components individually and then get a score that's acceptable enough to be told to people who will definitely take this news with a great deal of seriousness was something that I could call a rock, because we hadn't anticipated that, but it was one of the biggest factors in our project.
Terrific. That's a great answer, because it also shows that when you're able to see the rocks, it gives you confidence that you're getting a holistic view of your projects. No project is not going to have a rock. I'm going to give you that answer ahead of time. Every project you ever work on in your personal or professional life will be guaranteed to have a rock. So so if you don't see one, you need to rub your eyes and look a little closer. There'll be one. But you can get around it every time.
Thank you.
Eric, I see you're unmuted. Did you have something to add, or just did you want to respond to that question?
Oh, I could add something like, yeah, I agree with the point. Like, for example, in our team, we actually quite struggle with the Raspberry Pi thing, because the hardware was not enough to support the running of our AI model. So we kind of need to like optimize the model to make it fit on the limited computational power. Yeah.
And Eric, the problem you ran into is a global problem right now in this
Yeah.
ecosystem. Yeah, so that's amazing that you're hitting on a real life problem that people are trying to solve, and they're getting patents and they're learning and innovating new ways to solve these things. So you guys are hitting on areas that are a global issue right now. Very timely.
Hmm.
Yeah, and for me, the structural section, the problems I keep on hitting is that since our schools facilities use older generations of 3D printing machines and laser cutting machines, so they likely break a lot more often. And yeah, I have to somehow fix them up because the teacher is like, you should fix it yourself. I don't know how to fix it."
I'll tell you one thing I loved about your project is many things I loved about every project, but something that popped to mind was your project is about cleaning and cleaning up our environment. And I loved how much priority you put into using products to make using material to make your product that was eco-friendly. Because if you really think about it from a theoretical position, what's the point if you're cleaning everything up with something that's making more trash in the long run? So very, very thoughtful intent there.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. I just want to, oh, Susmita, I see you unmuted.
One
Did
of
you
the
want to?
other major problems that we faced is at first, when we were initially testing our models, the model was giving false positives, and false positives are oftentimes worse than false negatives. So that was a that caused us a lot of anxiety. But then, as we further worked on our model and as we surveyed a lot of people, like another problem that arose when we were surveying a lot of people was like talking to them and making them trust our model, because usually they go to doctors, and a lot of people in rural area do not even, like, everyone is aware about cancer, but they are not aware properly, they do not have proper awareness. So educating them and making them trust an AI model, because they don't know what is AI. Like, everyone knows AI, but they don't actually know what it is. So educating them and making them feel that we are actually doing something good for them was another problem. And then testing the model, so it would always give us at least maximum times it would give us accurate results, was another also big problem for us. But then as we tested further, we solved those problems, and now at best we have almost a 99% accuracy, and our model can accurately pin down whatever problem is with the oral cavity that we're detecting.
Susmita, that is fantastic, and you touched on something that I think is critical to share with this young team of inventors and brilliant young minds, to remember how we're using AI today. Let me give you an example. So I'm senior corporate counsel. I look at a lot of contracts in my day. Big part of my job is taking very dense legal information and analyses and condensing it down into plain business speak for people at my company to explain legal risk, etc. AI is a big part of my role right now because it is helping me work smarter, but it also, what I am learning is I don't treat co-pilot or co-work like another lawyer. I treat co-pilot and co-work like a legal intern that really wants to please me, and it's going to work really hard to give me every answer I ask for, but I have to remember it's not a lawyer. So that's where, and this is also about job security, that's where your human brain and your critical thinking skills and your strategic thinking skills can never be replaced by an AI agent. It's the human centric touch that you'll always bring. So I love the fact that you guys are cross-examining your AI agents, cross-examining the results. Absolutely. Especially in something in healthcare. It's something that is an area that, just like you spoke to, a false positive can be almost as terrifying as a false negative. So it's very thoughtful and intentional in the way you are using AI in this context. So kudos to you guys. Great work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. I just wanted to see if Team SuGuard or Danagul, do you have anything that you want to add? You're welcome to come off mute, or you can also share your responses in the chat box. We'll voice them over for you. So feel free to jump in. And in the meantime, we will also we have some questions in the chat box. I know we had another student discussion question, but I don't want to miss out on the questions that we had in the chat box.
Can I answer the question?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Please.
So there was a question from Susmita Roy Chowdhury, if I'm not making a mistake. She asked, why will we choose this sensor rather than common glucose testers? Mean to say normal glucose testers are safe and have been used since a long time. First of all, it's invasive, and there is some risks that can be people can have maybe some infections because of it, and also it hurts very much, and you should use it 15 20 20 times in a day, and it also costs very much. Not much, but our solution is more cheaper than it. So and it causes less disease. And yes, they can be, and we're working with uncertainty, and I think it will be better to choose a non-invasive one uh, rather than expensive and invasive glucometer. So thank you.
That's a great question.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Any other questions? I'm gonna see if we have any other ones in the chat box. Excuse my son over here. If you can hear his voice. A question for I believe it might have been, so this looks like it's a question from the audience, and it might be posed, I believe it's posed to all of the teams. How can your solutions be scaled or adapted to help more communities globally? So when you think about your projects that you have created or have added on to, consider maybe thinking about how your individual innovations have been, or have you considered how they can be scaled or adapted to help more communities in a global perspective? So anybody want to jump into that question, feel free.
So I would like to say that we can further scale our project by actually conducting rural health camps all across rural places, and we can actually appoint students there. So actually, we can build a little community of students helping people who do not have access to basic healthcare. And one of the differences that I have noticed in India and among other places is that, like, tobacco is consumed at the highest rate here, and India is actually the country which consumes tobacco more than any other place in the entire world. So, and the main reason behind oral cancer is tobacco consumption, but people are not aware, but people are not even aware about any of this. So students, they can build a trustworthy relationship with the common people around, and we can, obviously this would be in the guide and supervision of healthcare workers, and we have to always remember that this is a helping model. This is a precautionary model that we have built in order to build awareness, and to actually, because actually something is better than nothing, right? And because oral cancer is one of the kind of cancers that, if it is detected at an early stage, the chances of survival rises to almost a 70 to 80%. So that's how I think we can scale this further. We can make a little small app where another idea that I have thought is that we can create a small app where you can insert the patient's history, his age, his gender, and how long, for how many years he has been consuming tobacco. And then we can also add his history as a patient and if he has any other diseases. So then it would give us a better diagnosis and we would able to assist him further, because all of this is for the people, for the community, and for people who do not even have basic access to this. And in India, this is a huge problem. Like, if any people from like foreign countries, they come to India, they're always complaining that our streets and our places are so dirty and always littered with tobacco marks and all of that. So that is very true. So this is how I think I would like to further take our project and make it actually something that contributes, uh, even at the smallest step that it can. Thank you.
Wonderful.
That was
Thank you for
terrific.
sharing that. Yes. And opening up to other teams as well, Team Taiwan or Kazakhstan, this question, how can your solution be scaled or adapted to help more communities globally? You're welcome to hop on the mic and share your answers.
Well, our first step will likely be to introduce this competition to more of our classmates and to members of our school as well, because they also have quite a lot of ideas they want to help the world. So I believe that if, by involving them into our projects, it could also make the first step toward expanding our projects. Now, after that, it will be first expanded in our country, like this the idea of this project. And finally, if we get into a prestigious university abroad, then we'd likely be able to expand this project even more toward the entire globe.
Excited to see that progress. Definitely want to keep an eye out for that and wishing y'all the best of luck as you push that moving forward.
Thank you. Eric, do you have anything to add?
Maybe not.
Awesome. Want to see if anyone other teams, if anyone has any other final words for this question. Let me scroll back up. How can your solution be scaled or adapted to help more communities globally? If not, we have another question, a final question before we start wrapping up the session. Okay, so we have one more question, and this is going to be for all the teams. We've talked about the rocks, right? The challenges that we've all experienced. We also want to hear about the most exciting or proud moment your team had while working on your project. So feel free, whoever wants to hop on the mic first, to share your answer, and I'll put that question in the chat as well.
Um, uh, okay. I believe that our team's most proud moment and like me and Nari was like seeing the robot move the first time, because like we spent like like 70% of the time we couldn't see the robot move. So it was like near the end and we finally got the breakthrough and see the robot working. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a cool feeling to have success in that moment, right?
Yes,
Great
yes.
job.
So I would like to share a personal story. So there is this little it's kind of a big competition around here in our town. It is like the annual science model exhibition, and so our school participated in it, and we participated with this model, and we didn't get any prizes there. And like actually, we had put a lot of hard work and dedication to this model, so we were really disheartened when the judges didn't like our model and said that our model needed more work. So then we got a bit disheartened. But then I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity to share this model with everyone around you. So I would say that this is a really proud moment for us and for our whole team, for our whole group, and I'm also really grateful for our educator Susmita Di, because she guided us in all of this, and it wouldn't have been possible without her. Also, another proud moment is when we did surveys of people, and like the trust, the relationship we built with them is more precious than anything, because talking to them, explaining these things to them, and seeing a smile on their face is precious. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing out of any project, out of any scientific invention, is how you can help people. Everything we're doing is for humanity at the end of it all. So, helping people and seeing them being aware about cancer, seeing them being about or seeing them actually knowing about the oral cavity, what is cancer, how it spreads, what kind of cancers are there, and what is AI. So that was a really proud moment for all of us. And actually, just we had so much fun building this. The like late night researches we did on this, the late night surfing, like online surfing, and all the AI thing. It was really fun. And I would say this was one of the best moments of our school life. So there isn't any particular one moment that was the best. It is a collection of beautiful, glorious moments. So that is my answer to that.
That is so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like I got a little teary-eyed. Thank you. And yeah, this is definitely always one of the bigger moments for us, our team as well, these panels and having y'all present, just seeing y'all up here and share your projects and share your passions, always has us really feeling super proud of y'all. So thank you for sharing that. Definitely want to welcome Team Kazakhstan. I think if you're still on, feel free to share what was the most exciting or proud moment your team had while working on your project.
I'm not sure. I think they may have dropped off for a second, but maybe they'll join again. Um, but in the meantime, are there any questions that maybe team from Taiwan has for team in India? Anything that you're wondering about their own projects or future planning?
I have a question for the other team. Is will the model be like for the first the cheapest method of detection before the patient actually goes to the hospital? Like it may not be as accurate as the hospital, but it's like a cheap and a method that could be like incorporated like everywhere. Yeah.
Right. Thank you for the question. So this was one of the things that we thought about a lot. So basically, the model is like a triage at the triage stage. So we use it to get like a second opinion in health camps and stuff where the personnel might not be as uh, expert in a particular kind of cancer detection. So we use it as a triage tool, and depending on the predictions from the model, we decide we like refer them to further doctors and stuff. So it's always to be accompanied with uh, personal support from the doctors.
Thanks.
Does that answer?
Yes.
Thank you. And just to add, your project was also really good. Really a good idea. Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure you both can learn a lot from each other in terms of planning and just to things to consider for maybe your future iterations. Um, and yeah, I don't know if the educators are on, Rony, and I think Susmita might have been on at one point. You're welcome to jump in the chat or sharing the remarks that you might have. Um, but in any case, we're super
Um,
excited. Mhm.
So the guy asked about whether this is like the cheapest option available or not. So basically, the common ways or like the ways that we have to detect cancer is we do a biopsy, and biopsy is oftentimes and most of the time not available or accessible to rural people and people who do not like they do not have access to basic healthcare, let alone biopsies. But if we get the chance to implement this at a larger scale, and if we get the chance to take this to a lot of places, we would make this absolutely free. And because there is no medical uh, process or medical test of this, so this would be absolutely free of cost, and this would be a really, really cheaper alternative. But we have to remember that this is a precautionary model, and we would always have to follow it up with a doctor. And the decision of AI is not completely enough to make a proper diagnosis.
I have another question. Okay, so like you guys can detect the cancer, but do you guys have like any solution for the people that can't afford the medication for the cancer? I was just wondering about this. Thank you.
I think that there are various treatments to cancer, and especially if it is detected in the very early stages, that increases the chances of treatment at low cost a lot, rather than it being detected in the later stages where survival rates are also very low. So I think for now we are concentrating on trying to detect the disease as early as possible and referring them to proper healthcare, so that like by help from different medical schemes that are provided by the government as well, they can start taking care of their health and like taking all the precautionary measures for to prevent the disease from worsening further. That is the main concern.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
One question from me. So like your team utilizes like image detection, like they stick your tongue out or to stick a camera into your mouth, and then there is like a clump of something there. Now that camera has a software connected to like detect if it has a cancer. Now let's say that it's in the more preliminary stages of cancer, like the little clump of stuff on your tongue is not that significant. Would that reduce the accuracy of detection and affect the results?
That's a very pertinent question because it does happen that the model tends to confuse cancerous source and something like a canker, an oral canker, a lot, because they look very similar. But then we always prioritize having a false positive than a false negative, because getting checked for something that's a benign issue is still better than ignoring something that is potentially cancerous. So we do have scope for improving the accuracy of the model in such context. But for the larger number of cases, it seems to work out pretty well. Like it has been working well till now. But we can definitely make more improvements using better models and stuff.
Thank you.
Also, I want to add, does your team have like some exciting experiments of like actually identifying cancer from a person that doesn't realize that he or she has had cancer?
Right now we don't, because we have only had like screenings of people, and then we have asked them to consult doctors ahead in cases that we think are potentially malignant cases. But we don't really have a feedback from them to like comment on that whether they have been detected with cancer as such or not. But yeah, hopefully it turns out to be helpful to people in the long run and saves more lives as we go. Thank
Okay,
you for the question.
Awesome.
thanks.
Another thing
Thank you.
that I would like to add is that our model, when you like insert the image of the oral cavity taken, it generates a heat map. So that heat map is basically like red stands for most dangerous or the most malignant area. So the like imagine you have an image and it is graded in different colors. So if some portion of the image is graded in red, then that basically means that that area, like upon focusing on that area, our AI model is telling that this is it, this is what it's causing its malignancy. So it's a really cool feature that we can like actually point out the area that's causing the cancer, and like how our AI like is telling whether this is benign or malignant. And actually like we also want to add another thing is that like we so like in the future the AI will list out why it made this certain decision, that whether someone has malignant cancer or benign cancer, like the reasons it detected and the imaging it detected. So that is also another thing that we would like to add in the future.
Thank you so much. We are actually at time, so I hate to cut our discussion short, but it just goes to show you that we have such rich projects happening in different parts of the world, and it's really nice to see that you all as students, as change makers and youth creators can really like work together and and just like collaborate on these ideas, even if you're coming from different places in the world. It's clear to see that there are lots of ways that you all can collaborate. Sorry. And again, we just appreciate your insights and your effort that you've been able to put forth. So thank you so much. And Jess, I'm just gonna move on to can everybody see my screen?
Yeah, we can see.
To the closing remarks. And one more thing I just want to add. Thank you so much, Julie, for joining. In case we didn't get to tell you before, we really appreciate your insight and your time that you've been able to dedicate to the challenge each and every year.
Thank
So
you.
thank you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you for always inviting me back.
Of course. Jess, feel free to take it away.
Yeah, of course. And as Carissa mentioned, we hate to cut this conversation short, but we do have, and Kason is also upset about it, as you can see. We can be here for another hour or so, keeping these conversations going. But we do have just a few final announcements. If you can just stick with us for about another minute, I'll try to keep it brief. But again, congratulations to everyone who presented today. Thank you again to all our teams, our volunteers, our attendees, and we're extremely excited to see these projects continue to thrive. We definitely want to keep celebrating y'all and all your accomplishments. So we wanted to remind you about the YouthMADE Community Awards because we definitely feel you deserve all the praise. We invite your teachers, your families, your peers, people in your community to recognize those of you who presented at the YouthMADE Festival, which is these panels. There is a form and it's going to be shared in the chat where folks can nominate you to receive a reward. And you're welcome to share that link with folks outside of your community as well. I know some folks probably weren't able to attend this session, but we'll be sure to share the recording of this presentation. That way folks can view it and then nominate you. You do have until May 19th to get nominated for a community award. And once we receive all your awards, we'll be sure to notify you that you've been nominated and we'll share all the proud words that people have to say about y'all. So that should be added in the chat briefly. And yeah, before we officially end, again, thank you, everyone. I know everyone's at a different time zone. I know for some of y'all it's really early, some of y'all it's really late. I think Taiwan, you said it's almost midnight. It's like 11 p.m. for you. So we acknowledge that. And we're just extremely grateful for y'all making time to be here and to show support. If you want to share any highlights from today, we welcome you to use our hashtag Ciena Challenge and hashtag YouthMADE. Please tag us if you have Instagram or any other social media. Look for us at Digital Promise. We love to see y'all. We do have more student panels coming, so we would definitely love to see y'all there too if you have time. We have one tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, and then our last student panel on Thursday, May 14th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So yeah, feel free to go to youthmade.org to check out a list of all the full events. And thank y'all so much again. We hope to see you again this week, and we wish you an amazing rest of your day or night. Thank y'all so much.